Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It's deconverted. Ha ha ha. I don't have my web camera on. You get to see my avatar face glowing and stuff, I guess. All right. So, social issues, social phenomenon, the non-logical side of humanity that I keep telling myself to not cover. Don't talk about that stuff. Don't talk about the politics stuff. You don't know anything about that, deconverted man. What are you doing? What's wrong with your face? But I find myself attracted to topics that are related to debate, broadly speaking. And I have heard and read certain things about debating types of people that is extraordinarily negative. Like, don't debate this bigot. Don't debate this topic because that will spread the hate, or other words to that effect. So, I don't have a script. Let's do it. Yeah, sure. Why not? Because I like logic. I like debates. I enjoy the adversarial crashing of words into each other. Yeah, there's ways that I would like to see debates done that they're not done. But, you know, you can grumble about it, or you can launch your own debate platform and do it the way you want, and I don't feel like doing that, so I'm not going to not complain, I guess. But this idea is out there that you will spread the hatred of this bigot person or group by talking to them, by platforming. That's a popular phrase. Don't platform that person or whatever. And an example of this I thought would, be of use is from way back when, well, not that far ago. This was last year? Matt Dillahunty versus this idiot, Andrew. And Andrew said stuff that made Dillahunty say, I'm done, I'm out of here, bye-bye. And he walked off. Okay. And it was a whole thing. Now, Andrew is a big old bigot, big old piece of shit. Just a bad actor, not a good guy. And they just went into questions and answers from the audience. And he was extraordinarily hostile and bigoted and vile, and just not, what did we learn from this, if anything? And, who knows? Well, that's a good question. I don't know. We wanted to see these two, we wanted to see the Titans clash, and we wanted to see Dillahunty wipe the floor with this guy, and it didn't happen because Dillahunty, felt that, this was inappropriate, that things that this guy brought up were absolutely nothing to do with the debate. And fair enough, they were giant red herrings, many of them. Although maybe not necessarily. So, you could see it both ways, but there was no moderator to be like, hey, let's walk that back a bit or whatever. There's no mute button in a live debate. But if I, deconverted man, were to debate Andrew, whatever his last name is, somebody might say, don't do that, deconverted man. Don't you dare debate this guy. He's going to bring his bigotry. He's going to bring his audience that is full of just the worst that humanity has to offer, and he's going to try to make a fool of you. And anything that you say that is slightly incorrect or, not well phrased or whatever, if you make any mistake, they're going to trounce that. And even if you're perfect, doesn't matter, because it might do this thing. It might spread the hatred even further by debating this person because of all the vile people that are there, and you're just giving them a foil to attack, and you're legitimizing their position by even debating it. It's not worth debating, because that topic is, or that person is, going to make more copies of themselves and use your platform and say, well, I debated Deconverted Man. William Lane Craig wanted to debate Richard Dawkins. Dawkins was like, no, it's not happening, because it would look good for you. It wouldn't look good for me. It wouldn't help me a bit, Dawkins could debate anybody he wants. He doesn't, he's not going to care about that sort of thing. But, and then finally Dawkins said, well, I'm not going to debate him because he does apologists for genocide. And then Alex brought that out of Craig and got him to talk about genocide and defend genocide. Alex got Craig in a debate without debating him. And a very interesting maneuver of Alex by just asking Craig questions about this. And so we got to have a highlight of ammunition of the true problems of Christianity in regards to the love affair that they have with genocide if God commands it. That's a big problem that Christianity has. Now, somebody out there now is really going to be more attracted to genocide because Craig debated Alex about genocide, and Alex is a big name, and William Lane Craig gets to be like, look, I talked to Alex about this, and that went really well. And okay, but what's the other choice then? Well, don't talk to him about it. Don't say anything to him about it. Don't debate on that topic. Don't debate that person. And they will continue to say their things unopposed because nobody is debating them. Is that the answer? Well, look, they are so bad that talking to them will do this thing, appeal to consequence. That's what this is. That's what this idea of not platforming people or certain, don't do this argument, don't argue, fill in the blank, whatever example I could come up with, don't do that because it might do this thing. And it's a fear that people have. And it is a fear, absolutely a fear. And I'm like, where are the stats that show that this is true? Show me that. Show me proof that debating somebody makes more people bigoted or makes more people hateful. The people that are bigoted or hateful that are out there, they're going to, what? Be more so? Well, can you, or is it going to spawn new ones? Where's the data to show that this is true? If you want to appeal to consequence, which you shouldn't, but let's say that you really are like, no, it's going to do this. Fine, prove it then. Show me the data. Prove that it's true. Don't just say that it's true or it might happen, but demonstrate that it's true. Don't go into a personal experience. Well, I know that I've experienced this and blah, blah, blah. No, because that's not data. Show me a poll. Show me a study that has been done that says we've been following debates between, on the, the gay rights or the black rights or whatever rights, women's rights, and we've been following this for years, and we've been tracking these debates, and we notice a spike in homicide against, X people after these debates occur. Then that'd be something to look at. And I'll be like, oh, that's, maybe there's some question of, causation there. But okay, if it's happening every time, then that's not something you just shrug off, but at least in its data. But nobody ever shows that data. And if you ask them for it, they get offended. Like, oh, but you're not allowed to talk about this thing. Oh, and then there's another sinister thing that I've seen and heard people express. And it is, you better know what you're talking about if you're going to talk about this topic. Because if you answer the wrong answer, you will be eaten by everybody on your side. And I'm like, wow, really? Like, you can't be wrong? You can't be uninformed? You're supposed to know everything that there is? It's like, well, if you're going to debate this topic, well, how do they're going to bring this up. So you better be ready for that. So you have to be ready for all the things that they might bring up. And you have to do the research on the person to see what they're like and all this. Dylan Honey walked out saying, I should have, and then later he said, yeah, he should have researched the person and all that. And, okay, fine. Yeah, vet the people. You ultimately, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you that you have to debate whoever. You don't have to debate anybody. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But what I am saying is, perhaps it's incorrect of us to tell other people that they're not allowed to talk to whoever or talk about whatever subject. Of course, they're allowed to do it, but I'm not going to watch you then. Why? Because I don't want to hear them say all these hateful, terrible things. Well, I understand. I don't want to hear that either. But we have to have a bit of a thick skin and confront those ideas. What other choice do we have? And if you're not tough enough to do it, okay, fine, then don't listen to the topic or whatever. But maybe you do want to think about some things to improve your own, armor and not allow words to hurt you as much. And that takes time and energy to build up that. I've been insulted left, right, up, and down throughout the years of doing YouTube. And I'd say I'd have a decently thick skin, but of course things get to me, of course. And if I find myself too emotional, I've now recognized that and said I'm going to just stop and exit. And maybe that's what happened with Dull Honey. He was getting too emotional, so he decided to exit instead of continuing the debate. Although maybe he could have called for a 5-minute recess or something so he could calm down and then come back to it and nail the guy. I don't know. But I don't like that there's kind of this, how do I put it, anti-intellectualism-ish, because you're afraid that it might produce some unwanted result. Without demonstrating that it will do that, just the chance that it might is enough for you to say, no, look, we can't debate the effectiveness of vaccines. It's obviously true that vaccines work. If you go and debate an anti-vaccine person and you don't know what the hell you're talking about, that's going to make their position really super legitimate. Is it? How do you know that? Well, it's just obvious. No. We need, look, I wouldn't debate somebody on vaccine. I don't know enough about that. But if I did, if I found myself in that, I said, look, all the science supports vaccines. It seems they're effective. Where's your proof that there aren't? You present the proof that they aren't, because I'm not making a claim. I'm just saying I'm siding with the overwhelming science that says that they are. And that's not a burden of proof. It's just, yeah, there it is. See, scientists agree that vaccines are effective, and it seems that vaccines are effective, and that, that seems to be true in the zeitgeist and on, and on various search things you can do. And So I've fulfilled my burden. Now you prove that vaccines are ineffective if you want to do that. And then the burden's on them. And I don't have to get into the topic. Like, what about this, this, and I'd be like, I don't know anything about any of the stuff you're talking about. That's not my expertise. Why are you not debating a scientist on this? And reveal that, and I'd say maybe you're scared or maybe you're worried that your ideas can't withstand that level of scrutiny, you know. There's, but you made such a fool of yourself. Oh no! Now they're going to be even more, powerful than before. How do we know that? How do you know that? Really? Are they? Let's say that you went to debate a Muslim on Sharia law to try to show how vile it is, and you just lost. You lost the debate in the sense of you had a great argument. You had a valid and sound argument, no doubt. You pointed out the fallacies. You nailed them on point A, B, C, and D. But you lost because the entire audience was Muslim. And they were booing you and jeering you and making fun of you. And the other guy was making fun of you. And and even though you made your points, it's like, you walked off stage with your head held high, but they mocked you and laughed at you, and they declared victory on all their channels and social media, and oh man, and oh well, we've got to kill this guy, we'll kill him because he insulted Islam, and okay, well that's bad. And meanwhile, the people that are atheists, that are supposedly on your side, you come back kind of exhausted from that. It was rough, but you're not broken, and you just want a place to chill out and settle in and sit down with your online community, so to speak, and all of a sudden everyone's attacking you because you dared to make a fool of yourself. Phew, man, that'd be pretty brutal, wouldn't it? And not a single one of them shows any proof that your quote unquote loss is going to lead to worse things happening. But they're just eating you up because, whatever. And now you need to be canceled. So they all unsubscribe from you. They all block you. They're not going to talk to you anymore. Or what if it's not even a debate with somebody? You just say something that people disagree with. You said it in the wrong way. You said something that was ignorant. You're not allowed to say that. You should know better. You should know everything there is about this topic. You're not allowed to be wrong, or I'm going to not listen to you anymore. Wow. Really? I guess so. The emotions that we humans have must be tempered with logic and reason. Doing that's difficult, especially if the topic is something that personally affects you or people you love. I've had my errors in the past of talking about things that I don't know anything about, and I've certainly gone angry mode, and goodness knows how much that affected people's view of me. And I'm sure there's people out there that just hate Deconverted Man. I know that for sure. That's true. Not just, okay, that is what it is. But what's your logical reason? Not your emotional one. What's your logical reason? And if you don't have one, don't focus on the person, focus on the argument. Was a good argument made? If not, yeah, okay, fine. Attack the argument. Dismantle that. If I was to analyze Dillahunty versus this Andrew guy, Andrew technically won because Dillahunty exited the debate. There is nothing, I could analyze Dillahunty's statements and they get several points, but then he can't continue to gain points because he's not there anymore. Although Andrew lost, in my view, but, if you were doing some point system or something. And so we need to find a way to say, look, okay, this is a difficult topic, or this person is, Jim Bob, for example, he's an asshole. I'm not going to talk to that guy again. But you're free to. I was getting annoyed that Answers in Atheism and Captive Death kept talking about him. I was like, come on, guys, can you talk about someone else? And I'm like, but I'm not going to tell him not to do it. I mean, I'm like in a voice that I don't like it, but I'm not going to tell him not to do it. And I don't think that talking to him affected him, but who knows? We don't know. You don't know. And it's not going to happen immediately. It's going to take time. And what about the people in the audience? You don't know. And people in the comments and people that say nothing but listen to it or listen to parts of it, and you have no idea what that might do. And I serve, if you will, as an example, one dot on the data map of somebody who was a firm believer, but because atheists kept asking me questions and kept making videos, I had to look into it for myself. I had to find out if it was true. Except for maybe one person that I've interviewed on the deconversion stories, every single one was that they thought their way out of it. They thought their way out. You need to be able to think about things. And you need to be able to say the things that you're thinking out loud. And you need to be able to make mistakes in what you say and correct them later. And we need to maybe not take as much offense when somebody says something that we disagree with or that's wrong and eat them on it, and instead find a different, more logical way to approach that. Maybe. I don't know. All right, well, tell me how wrong I am and tell me all the different things that you shouldn't debate and why in the comments below, I suppose. And, I'll regret doing this video later, maybe. All right. Until next time, be skeptical. And after next time, stay skeptical. Lobsters exist. Nobody can disagree with that, right? Right? Right?